A very good morning to everybody here who's tuning in via MTR Images live stream as we are about to get going for the Get Chopped Australian TransAm live stream from Queensland Raceways. Very interesting looking grid as ever, the wonderful TransAms here at Queensland Raceways. Now, of course, last time out there was a substantial accident for Ian Palmer in the Joker, the Palmer Steel Industries Pontiac Firebird. That was at Lakeside. The car was substantially damaged. They're working to rebuild the car at the moment. But that doesn't mean that Ian is not here today. Ian's in the very fortunate position of having a spare car on hand, and the Plymouth Barracuda AAR will line up. The grey Barracuda will be representing Ian Palmer's Palmer Steel Industries team car. So yes, TransAm proudly supported by Get Chopped, also TACMED Australia and Palmer Steel Industries. So all the big guns are here. We've got the 5 cars in the top class, the Pontiac Firebird, the Pontiac Firebird of John English, Plymouth Barracuda of Ian Palmer. Owen Bishop is here with his new car, the Dodge. Anthony Tenkate, of course, in his Ford Mustang. And the 5th of the top flight cars, there's the Dodge coming into shot here of Owen Bishop, just following Ian Palmer's grey Plymouth Barracuda out on the circuit. So the Pentastar is well represented here this weekend. Not a stronger representation for Mopar products in season 2021 than is normally the case, where we normally have a couple of really quick General Motors products at the front of the field and the bulk of the field made up with Ford Mustangs. But there we've got the the silver gunmetal actually Pontiac Firebird of John English leading the way, and followed out onto the track there by the number 99 Ford Mustang. Car that's had a number of drivers in the past. Most recently it's been New Zealander Tony Rutherford who's been driving that car. Not this weekend. Tony, of course, still in New Zealand. We'll look forward to seeing Tony back at the wheel of probably the Bumblebee Mustang, actually. He'll drive when he returns to the Australian TransAm Series. Now we've also got Ron Prefontaine, the white and red Ford Mustang, as does run down the Dick Johnson Straight to start their first flying laps. Russell Wright, one of the faster cars out there, that's Wright, is actually driving the blue Ford Mustang. It's unusual to see Russell Wright in a blue car, not unusual to see him in a Ford, or even in a Ford Mustang. Patricia Chance, blue Mustang, is here. Fantastic to see Trish out having a run. Gareth Jones has got the Hertz coloured Ford Mustang, the black and bronze notchback Mustang. So numbers are slightly down, but nevertheless we do have these fantastic Ford Mustangs, Pontiac Firebirds. Hopefully we'll see some Chevrolet Camaros rejoin the field. Jeff Vane, of course, runs the orange Chevrolet Camaro, which holds the record for the most race victories in Australian TransAm Series. Brought to you by Get Chopped, TACMED Australia and Palmer Steel Industries. And there's a couple of other Camaros those in the field as well. We're starting to get flying laps completed now. Russell Wright fastest at the moment at 1:21.1 lap time. Of course, like most qualifying sessions, we'll find that quick times are set early in the session. So Rusty Wright has pole position at the moment. We're looking across at turn 6 right at the moment at the end of the lap here at Queensland Raceway. 3.1 kilometre layout, almost exactly half the length of Bathurst for those who are interested in such things. A bright green Ford Mustang of Anthony Tenkate just crossing the screen. We look over on the run down the Hanger Straight. That was Patricia Chant on screen. And there's Palmer and Bishop running together. The two Mopar products running together. A pair of cars on the back straight there. That's Wright and English. English just overtaking Wright. Of course, this is qualifying. So fastest at the moment is John English, the multiple champion in Australian TransAm Series, a 1:18.7. So we've dropped 3 seconds since the opening laps of the session. Rusty Wright, second fastest, on a 1:19.8. So right at the moment, English has a 1.1 second gap on Rusty Wright in the blue Mustang. Tenkate, third fastest in the bright green Mustang. That's English on screen now, being chased by Wright. Tenkate's at a 1:20.0. Owen Bishop, fourth fastest in the Dodge on a 1:22.7. Then we go to Ian Palmer in the Plymouth Barracuda, a 1:23.0. So that's off the pace we'll expect from Palmer. Gareth Jones leading the 5 litre class, and he's on a 1:24.6 at the moment from Patricia Chanton on a 1:25.1. And unfortunately, while Ron Prefontaine did go out at the start of the session, he's come into the pits straight away. So we don't have a qualifying lap in from the white and red Ford Mustang from the WellPro group. Queensland-based WellPro racing team. They run cars across a number of categories. They're running multiple cars here this weekend because production sports cars are here, and they have a couple of cars that race in production sports cars, although I don't know how many of them are here. There's a Lotus Exige that's driven by Ron's son John, and there's also Robert Hackwood, who races on occasion in Touring Car Masters. Of course, that car isn't here today. And there's also a Ginetta G50 that runs in the team, and that car might be running in production sports cars. But yes, the expansive WellPro Motorsport team, and always great to see them at a racetrack in their familiar white with red bonnets. That's John English going through turn 2. Well, in the foreground there, we've got Gareth Jones and the number 66 notchback Ford Mustang. Gareth, unrelated to myself, Mark Jones, of course. Gareth is a proud Welshman, as is the Jones tradition. I don't believe he's that good at doing Tom Jones karaoke. But then, who is? But yeah, proud Welshman. And a former rally competitor in the home countries. Home counties? Home counties generally applies to Ireland rather than than to Wales, but yeah, the home country. Rally driver, but he's moved to the blacktop when when the family moved to Australia. It's quite some time ago, of course. But you talk to Gareth, and there's certainly a thick Welsh accent still there. Now Trish Chant has moved up into pole in the 5 litre class on 23.7 for Trish. Trish Chant, along with her father, Mike Collins, they're part of the organising group of the Leyland Historic Sprints. Not that far away. Leyland? Leeburn Historic Sprints. I can't believe I've gotten that wrong. Leeburn Historic Sprints. So we're not far away from that. As we pick up over at looking at turn 6. So fastest time still English at 1:18.7. He set that on his 3rd qualifying lap. Hasn't gone faster since then. 10 Kate is now into 2nd place on a 1:18.6 in the bright green Mustang. Then we have Rusty Wright in the blue notchback Mustang. Palmer in the grey Plymouth Barracuda has jumped up into 4th place with a 1:20.3. So the gaps are actually, well, it's very close at the front. There's just 1.5 tenths of a second between English and 10 Kate, which promises for some good racing this weekend. Anthony's actually been a bit lightly raced this year. He's only done the 1 meeting, I think, and that was in his TA2 Mustang. English is backing off. We're picking up provisional pole sitter at the moment. We're looking across now to, that's Trish Chant. One of the more prominent racers in the Queensland motor racing community, with her work as both a promoter and as a racer. Number 35 Mustang, and she's backed off, allowing Gareth Jones, her class rival, to race past. I made mention of it before, but yeah, Gareth Jones's notchback Mustang, dressed up in the corporate colours of Hertz in the USA, which was quite the thing. Like when the Ford Mustang was first released in the US, Hertz hire car company got hold of a bunch of Mustangs, and they got Ford to paint it up in their colours, which wasn't a standard colour from Ford at the time. This black and bronze look, and it became quite the famous look for them. And there's Ron Prefontaine. We're just picking up there, the white and red Well Pro Mustang, and he's heading straight out the back with no qualifying time set. That was qualifying complete, and we will have, we'll have the lap times for you a little bit later on. But yes, John English on pole, and alongside him will be Anthony Tenkate ahead of Russell Wright, Ian Palmer, Ormond Bishop, and then the 5 litre cars of Chant, Jones and Prefontaine. TransAm Australia brought to you by Get Chopped, TACMED Australia and Palmer Steel Industries.